9 days you should.
Well,
9 days you should do one to finish the.
welcome to Yeshiva Daf. We're holding in Chulin Daf Daled. We're starting Daf Gimel with base in the two dots towards the bottom of the home. Says the Gemara Tana Abun. Now we're in the middle of the discussion. We brought 6 different ways to explain our Mishnah. 6 different ways to explain how the Mishnah reads. That on one hand it says Hakol Shrechatim, and then it says Shchitas Kshev. So the Gemara now says it's a little bit of the extension of the sugyo, because we mentioned throughout Amud Beis that there is a shchita of a kusi, there's a shchita of a goy, of a mumar. So let's see. Terman shchitas kusi muteris. A kusi could do a shchita. Amed v'ramorim. Keshi Yisrael oimed al gabu. Similar to what Abayi said in the previous daf. Yisrael's on top of it. Aval ba'o mitzoi sheshochat. But if he comes and he finds he already did shchita, so what do? So as we saw, that was mentioned, he takes a piece of meat. There's a discussion that if it has to be kazais exactly, or it could be less. If a nice line, he gives the kusi to eat. The kusi doesn't want to eat treifus. He doesn't mind causing other people to eat it, but he doesn't want to eat himself. So as long as he himself, if he ate it, you could eat. Another example to this.
Let me ask you a question. If the guy says, I want to sponsor in honor of my friend who's Jewish, is that considered the same thing or is it different?
No, this is not a goy. He's talking about a kusi. It's different.
Of course, you have. It's on the sponsor.
Okay, he doesn't know what he says. The question, if he did the shchita himself, so we trust him if he himself eats it. If not, not. Kayaytze boy, motzo biyodoi.
He won't give it something, even though he doesn't hold the neighbor. But
he's not a dad, but he does the shchita and he gives it to the guy.
If he knew it wasn't a good shchita,
he will still give it to them. Give me it. That's what we saw in Mudaf. That's what Mudaf said. If I don't test the kusi and the kusi doesn't eat taste it, so you can't rely on it.
But if he knew he didn't do a good shchita, I don't think he would give a kusi.
He still no. We've clearly
you don't, but I don't think.
No, more than that. Clearly in the previous daf that we assume that a kusi they didn't check, that he's feeding you treifus. No, he's feeding his treifus.
But not that he knew it was treifus.
I don't know if there's any chiluk like that. Yeah, could be. I don't know if it's afkamin. Kayaytze boy, motzu biyodo is a davdalim dav. The koryo shel tziporim, meaning you find a machris. Machris means like a bundle or connected together of a string of birds. And he wants to know if it's kosher or not. So Kater Roy Shechem, he takes a piece, cuts
the curry of the sal.
Sal. Rashi calls machresis, as we know that's the ring. Okay, so he says Kater Roy Shechem, and he cuts one of the heads, and he feeds him. If he ate, very good. Abayi daig miratio rovo daik v'seifo. So now we saw in the previous dam machlekes Abayi and rovo. What is required by a kusi? Do you have to mamish be on top of him? That's Abaye. Or yoitze v'nichnas is good enough. So Abaye, they're all just to be on top of him, diagonal ratio. Time the Yisrael he has to be on top of him. That's what the ratio the Brisa says. Avo yoitze v'nichnas lohi. Rov dag v'seifa. Rov is dag in the end. Time of the bo mitzor shochat. He came, he found already shechted, so then he feeds him and sees if it's a problem. But once he's there and he sees he's going in and out, that's good enough. So the Gemara Abaye Kasha Seifo. According to Abaye, how do you explain the Seifo? It says if you found him, Rashi did Yoitz v'nichnas not. According to Abaye by a kusi, I don't rely on Yoitz v'nichnas. If someone was Yoitz v'nichnas, it's considered to be that he found him with a meat. Ulerovo kasha ratio. According to Ravo, kasha, the beginning of it says there's oimel agavov. Amalecho yoitz v'nichnas nami koimel agavov dami. Step going in and out is like oimel agavov, which is exactly the kudo. How do we rely on a mashgiach today? Because yoitz v'nichnas means I know it's okay, so that's good enough. Kayotze bo, another example. We saw in the Brisa. Matzah b'yodo, we just recording.
It's worse because there's like mirrors.
Yeah.
But over here,
also mirrors. It means that you're coming in and out, so you find.
Some of these works use mirrors.
But here he says mirrors because he wants to give you the meat, and he knows you're checking on him. So the Chur is also a din of mirrors. I mean, he doesn't want to mess up because he knows any second you could beat him. That's what Yechezkel is all about. Says the one kayetzebo and what's to be other the curse to point to the Rosh Chulin. Am I lechush dimai who have a shochet shofir? So now I'm going to say I want to understand the technique. Yeah, he has 10 birds. So what do? You give him one bird. But if you give him one bird, maybe that bird is the one he knows is kosher. Maybe the kusi knows here's clearly it's true, it's just a right to you. The guy now is giving you the birds. He knows that 9 of them are treif and 1 of them is kosher. So he says he cuts a piece. He says, oh yeah, that's the kosher one. I'm going to eat it. And you take the treifus. And you see, he's trying to trick him. Says the Gemara, so maybe that's the one. He put the birds under his wing. He doesn't know which one is which. But maybe there's a simon. He knows the one with the X is the one. Meaning he grind them. He was completely cut into pieces. There's no way to know which one is which. Says the Gemara, maybe the Kusi says, you know what? I don't care about the birds. Because I think that there's no shchita loy min Torah, because the Torah just says shchita by. It's not so clear that you have shchita by. We'll see later in this Masechta how do we know shchita loy min Torah. Says the Gemara, v'letaimech shehio dorso choldo hagromo v'ikur. These are the 5 things you have to do with shchita. So shehio means you're not allowed to wait too long because it has to be done in one. It has to be done in one shot. Dorso means that he's doing it too fast, one shot. I mean, he's not doing it back and forth. Choldo means that he does, if I'm not mistaken, the choldo is he's starting in the middle. He digs in. And Agurama is the opposite. He goes in, he moves, he cuts out in the middle. The Ikur is taking out the Simona for its place. So we'll see all that later. But you have all the Dine Shchito, Miksivan. Well, why is the Kusi you try the Kusi? It doesn't say clearly in the Torah. And like even the Achzikabu, how come I can Achziku, meaning thing that we know that they're careful about, we assume it's okay. So here we know they're careful about it, therefore we assume it's okay. It has to do with Yechezkel and it has to do with Hilchos Oif as well, even though it's not written in the Torah, meaning the Kusim are different than Zdukim or Baitusim. So Zdukim Baitusim, we don't trust them for Torah Shabbat Peh. Kusim depends. As the Gemara is going to go in right now to tell us, depends if they were Yechezkel or Lo Yechezkel, did they take upon themselves to do it. Says more about this idea that something was not written in the Torah, we assume the Kusi is doing it correctly. As the Machalik Tanoi, the Tanya, Matzahs Kusi Muteres v'Odom Yotzebo Yidei Pesach. A matzah of a Kusi is muter, and a person can use it at Pesach. Well, it says Zasser because they're not careful about mitzvahs. I can't rely on them. If a Kusi is careful about it, they do it even more than Yisrael. They become fanatic about it. That becomes their thing. Says the Gemara, the one that explains the 3-way machlokes in this brayso. Of course, meaning what's the chiddush? Maybe they don't know how to make shimur, the shematzo, supposed to do lishmo. So you can't use it on Leila Seder. The pshita goes in the second part. It said it's kosher and you can yaitze. It's kosher, you can yaitze. No, maybe they don't know how to do shimur lishmo. Kavash for that. He holds it not beki b'shimur. Whatever kusi do, they do better than Yisrael. Tanakam also said that. You can trust them. So the more if it was written in the Torah, but they're not, we don't know that they're careful about it. He never mentioned Yechezkel. Tanakam did not say that we know that they are careful about it. All he says that it's what he said that we can be trusted by matzah. So the Tanakam holds anything that's written in the Torah, I assume the Kusim are keeping. Even if I don't know if they're annoying to do it, I'm assuming they're doing it right. So according to this Shah, the Gemara, the Shaila is what is the focus? The Yeshiva holds if they are, that's what they're annoying, that's their minhag, that's the custom. We assume they did it correct. They're doing it even better than Yisrael. But if not, even though it's written in the Torah, no. And Tanakam holds anything that's written, I can rely on it. So more yachi kol mitzvah shechziku bokusim im ichziku yibayle. According to you, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel is coming to diminish, to exclude, to take out from what the Kama said. The Kama said you could do it. Anything's within the Torah. It comes with Shigul and says, no, only if Yechezkel. That called me to Yechezkel. It's now written in the Torah, but it is still machzik. Even if it's not written, it has to be written in the Torah. So once they hold on to it, they hold on to it, so it's the three machlekes. According to the Kamo, it needs to be written in the Torah to be soymich. According to Ablazar, I'm not soymich them. According to Shugabliel, anything they're after.
But really, the two didn't change. Just whether it was.
It changed because the question is: the Kamo is more makel or more machmer?
But in the end of the day, the Tanakh always both ways. It always holds it depends on Ksiva, and there has nothing to do with Aksid or Le'Aksid. Question was
No, so it could be
whether it was a case of where it was written and they were not Aksid, or was it a case of they were Aksid and it was.
So I remember. So
at the end of the day, the Tanakh always holds.
I remember vaguely that machlekes Rishonim and Psachim. According to the Maskona of the Gemara, what happens Ksiva v'Lo'Aksid? According to Tanakh. Ksiva
would be good.
That's according to Avami. What about according to Maskon? According to Maskon, Shugul is coming to add to Tanakama. Says, you should know the Achzuk is enough. Does Tanakama hold you have to have Ksiva ve'Achzuk?
Look at Rashi says Matzah the whole family. The Ksiva, if it's written Samchina alive, Bein Achzuk Bein Lav, nothing to do with Achzuk.
That was the Avami.
No, this is in the El Ika Benai. This is in the Maskana. It's the second Rashi is the.
Here, okay, so Rashi holds that way. I think it's a machlokes Rishonim Psachim. Yeah, could be. Yeah, I hear. Very good.
I think it just differs where it starts from.
The
problem
is it the Ksiva or the Achzuk?
In the case of Ksiva, the Lashon in
According to Shigam do you say Ksiva Achzuk or
it
not?
didn't work.
Right.
Tyson's addresses that.
He brings it over here.
Addresses that. Says the same like.
Nami Yikabinah. Yeah. Ksiva lo Achzuk. Right. Okay. Gufo. Omar Rava Yisrael Mumar Oichel Nevelos the Tavoin Boidik Soki Menoisin Loi Umutu Lechem Shchitos. So we saw that in the previous daf. If you have a mumar who's a tletel, he's not doing lahachis. Well, he has a taiva. So you check the knife. You see the knife is good. I'm not assuming they did anything wrong. Why should he do anything wrong? He can do it right. My time. He has a way to do it correctly, a way to do it wrong. So he's not going to do it wrong. So if he didn't check also, for him to go and get the right knife, he's not gonna work hard to get it. But if you already got it, so that if he has it in front of him, he's not gonna do what you saw. So people that do Averis comes to Pesach and they have chametz. So Yechezkel maybe it was chametz shaval Pesach. Maybe they didn't take it out of Pesach. So doesn't want to down base mutar miyad. It's still mutar. Why? Because even if they have chametz shaval Pesach, they will replace it with chametz chametz of a goy. Right? They switch with the goy. So what do you see? So they try to get rid of their chametz. So even if you hold chametz as the raisa, or fiktari bnei shem machlifim almo loishovi giter v'ochli suro. Meaning, right after Pesach comes, I can assume they replace the chametz with the right chametz. So maybe because he holds the chametz achar Pesach derabanan, he mekilim b'derabanan b'deraisa lo mekilim, and he's sort of derabanan a mekil, not in deraisa. So I don't have a raya that by deraisas, I'm assuming that he's not doing it. So when Shim continues to go on, says still have a raya. Why? I didn't say, I could assume, I could be makel that they're machlif. It's a lotion of devadai machlifim. It's not even a question. I know for sure they switched. Oh, now I have a right to the other direction. But the right so the kosher. If the rabbanon they are so careful to switch the isur to heter, so of course with their rice. It will be a right. Now, by the way, here you see in your site that a person was a rasha. The fact that a person, when it's convenient for him, he doesn't do isur, it doesn't make it out a mummer. Still a mummer. Because when it's not convenient, he doesn't do it. The fact that when it's easy for him to switch, he switches, that doesn't make him a tzaddik.
They switched it, why is it not, you switched for something which was also.
No, chometz shlagoy.
But comment, the Mumer's comments was comments from Lepesa. He switched it for Goy's comments. Yes, the Goy's comments is inherently mutter, but it came in exchange for comments that was.
Yeah, but that doesn't make it also because the only thing though is only if the Zohar is Teufis Yisura. It's not Teufis Yisura. Yeah. Says the Gemara, let me say, I'll bring a raya. Kol shechatim afilu kusi, va'afilu orel, va'afilu Yisrael momer. So 3 cases that you can rely on a shchita. Kusi, orel, Yisrael momer. So what's the case of the orel? Meaning the brothers died because they didn't do bris milah, and he's orel. How Yisrael me'ayu? That's a good Yisrael. He didn't do anything wrong because he's it's a medical thing. Elab shito mumer la'arelus, meaning he doesn't want to do bris milah. Kasalam mumer dover echad lo yav mumer lechad to'ekulo. That's why I trust him for shchito. Ema seiva fil Yisrael mumer. Then it's Yisrael mumer. Hi mumer echidami. Which one we're talking about? I mumer dover acher. I know mumer la'arelus. Already said an example. Someone has a mumer doesn't have bris milah, so I have to give you another mumer. Ela mumer lo isa dover. Talk about his mumer for this for shchito. Hi, so how can I trust him? Because the rava. The what? Mumer l'te'avoin. If he has the option of doing something mutter, he won't do something else. So you have a right to rava. This is more loy. If it's more not, my topic about the dosh miketeri damile. Here comes the svara. What's the flip side? What does he care if it's mutter also? Once a guy does it the whole time, he doesn't look at it as something wrong. He doesn't look at something wrong for him, it's something mutter.
No right.
So no right. So what's the mumar? The mumar levetz kachavim. K'darav Adnan Doma Vainu Mashmuel Yisrael Mumar Skachavim Muto Lechom Shchitosai. Meaning, even though he's mumar for the Zorah, that he's the worst thing, still shchita. So that's a chiddush. I tell you first of all, mumar for 1 mitzvah, bris milah. But I'm telling you mumar with the Zorah. So it's saying, he's denying basically HaKadosh Baruch Hu to a certain extent. You still can trust the shchita. Says about Gufa Ma'avanu Mashmuel Yisrael. With the Chur, it's the same thing like I said before, which means you have to make sure that you give him the right knife or whatever. Gufa Ma'avanu Mashmuel Yisrael Mumel V'Skachovi Muto Lechom Shchitoso. Wow, how do we know that? Sheken Matzinu Bi Yehoshaphat Melech Yehuda Shenena Mesuas Achov. So Yehoshaphat and Achov were 2 kings. Yehoshaphat was the king of Am Yisrael, of Bnei Yehuda. And Achab was the king of Yisrael. And Achab basically convinced Yehoshaphat to come. They were at a meal together. In the meal, he convinced him to go to war. To go to war against, I think it was against Moav, I think. If I'm not mistaken. Or Briamoin. I forget, it was against the enemy. They convinced him to go to war. So what happened? They went and ate together. How did Yehoshaphat eat from Achab? Achab is a mummer. Achab was doing Averis. He was doing Avedazar. So you see, you can rely on the shchita. That's the raya. Shene'ema, what's the pasuk? It says, "V'yizbach," it's psukim in Divrei Hayomim. "V'yizbach lo achav tzoyin ubokor l'roiv v'la'av asher yimoy." Achov took care, meaning he shechted. We'll see in the moment who shechted, but he shechted for Yehoshaphat and everybody with him meat. V'yasiteu la'alois Ramas Gil. And he seduced him, persuaded him to go to Ramas Gil, meaning to go to war. Maybe they shechted, but they didn't eat. They just made like a feast. But maybe Yehoshaphat the tzaddik did not eat from the shechita of this mummer. So the Vayisiteu means he persuaded him, he convinced him. Maybe he persuaded him by convincing him in a nice way. There's no such thing as convincing someone with words only. It needs to be with sudo. Says the pasuk that your brother will convince, someone will convince his brother to do it for the Zorah. Yes, eating and drinking. It says that Kodesh Baruch Hu tells the Satan that you convinced me, persuaded me to punish Iyov. Up there in Shamayim, there it's different. Obviously, Kodesh Baruch Hu, you know, Okay, but maybe your shafat drank and didn't eat. So why shtiya is different than achila? But if you hold these of the zaros, he's making the wine nesach. So achila navi more of this kachavim. The fact is more to one thing. To even with the zaro, there's even more for everything. Oh yeah, for sure. That's why even today, someone's not Shem Shabbos, Rechosh is wine. So achi ashto. Shtio stam yeinunu. It's that wasn't a yain nesach. It's a stam yeinu. I don't know who's doing yain nesach. The idea of stam yeinu was a gzeiro that was done later. We have in the second of the Zohar, a different stage. So don't be the fact that you're saying shtia could be the drink. He could drink. It was still a tkufa. We're learning of the Zohar. We had a case like that. You could drink wine of the Zohar, yet in the earlier generations, but you can't eat from the shchita. No right. So this is more eBay semo. So maybe he just drank, didn't eat. Or says eBay semo lo orche de malko mishtia beloy michlo. First of all, it's not their cheretz to drink and not to eat for a king. It's not the proper way. EBay semo vayizbach vayisiseu ksiv. It says vayizbach vayisiseu. Pema yisisoy bezvicho. The way he convinced it was through the zvicha, meaning through the food. Says more vidilmo Ovadio zovach. Ovadio was the servant in the house of Achov. And he was a big tzaddik. He's the one who hid all the chachamim, all the nevim in the cave. Says the Gemara, lo roiv ksiv. It says it was a lot. He could do it on his own. For Ovadio lo have a suffix. It wasn't enough for him to do the whole thing. Vidilmo shiva salavim zevoyach. Maybe there were 7,000 people that were kosher. They were good people. Maybe you're talking about the 7,000 Jews. They were good Jews. So what Timur have a Mitri and Mizabel. They were hiding because Mizabel, the wife of Achav, was killing everybody who did not do over the Zar. Maybe the people working for Achav were good people, and that's why they were not afraid of Mizabel because they were under the king. If you have a bad king, all the servants are Rishayim as well. Okay, so maybe the food, they didn't care so much because the soldiers of Yehoshaphat, the servants of Yehoshaphat, think they were Rishayim as well. Same was the Voyach Gavri Da'achov, and Maybe the people of Yehoshaphat were bad, and they ate for the zvicha of the people of Achov. And Yehoshaphat himself ate from Ovadio. So the more second that meaning the fact that a bad king has bad servants, how to show the tzaddikim. So a good king has good servants. They go after the king. So more maybe each one too brought his own shchita. Right? The people of Achav took care of themselves. The people of Yeshua took care of themselves. Same with the Piyam Mudalef. He didn't separate himself from. They were friendly together. It says we're going to be the same in the war. Our horses are the same.